Hi, this is Michaela, and I am a member of the Paul Ward Home and Ranch team.
Hi,
Good morning.
Michaela.
Good morning, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Nice. So welcome to a new series. We are doing 15 minutes with a realtor where Paul will answer popular questions that we commonly receive here at the Home and Ranch team. And today's question is, what are some realtor red flags?
That's a great question. And I can think of three red flags right out of the gate. One is realtors who act like salesmen. Okay. They're not really advocates for their client, but they're just kind of all about the sale, making a quick sale. Number two is a realtor who has a serious lack of communication with their client. Okay. The contract is signed and then the agent disappears. Okay. And number three, I just alluded to that. This third one is a realtor that does not act like an advocate for their client. Okay. So those are the three big red flags, I would say. 20 years of experience. I kind of know which agents are top notch and which ones are not. But those are three big red flags in my book.
Nice. What do you do to ensure that you're not raising any red flags with your client?
Well, I think for me, I'll start with the third one. Actually, being an advocate for my client, I want to treat my client the way I would want to be treated. Okay, so if I'm a seller, how would I want to be treated myself?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a buyer, how would I want to be treated myself? So if I follow that principle, then it's pretty easy, honestly, to avoid, falling into that gimmicky salesman box.
Absolutely. What do you do to keep in touch with your clients? Or what are some common ways that realtors stay in touch and communicate?
Sure. So many years ago, I started a monthly card. Okay. So if we were working with sellers, I would send out a card once a month and it would tell them what we were doing for them. So how many people saw their property in the previous month, what was our marketing for that previous month, and then what were we going to be doing going forward. Okay, now we've kind of gone 10x on that, and so basically every single week with our sellers, we call them and or email them an update every single Friday or Saturday. And all of the stats from the previous week are given to that client. So depending on how many weeks are in a month, if it's a 4-week month or a 5-week month, we reach out to them every single week. And then, of course, I also have continued the postcard program. So literally between 5 and 6 times per month, we are reaching out to our sellers. And so because they're getting so many updates from us, they know that there's not a lack of communication.
That's wonderful. Do you think, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here by asking you this, but can you give us an example of just going above and beyond for your seller or above and beyond for your buyer?
Sure. We get calls from buyers and they might, say, I'm interested in 123 Banana Street. And I will let them know up front what the benefits and drawbacks of that particular property are. Okay. So if you think of a new agent or an unseasoned agent or kind of a gimmicky salesman type person who's all about the sale, they're going to be eager to go show that property irregardless of what the challenges of that property are. And I want that potential client or past client who's a continuing client to know what are the challenge of this property before we go look at it. I mean, maybe it is the right property. Maybe those challenges are, have solutions to them. But if at all possible, I want them to know, as again, treating them like I would treat myself, providing them with information just like I would want to know if I was the buyer. So I pride myself on that, is letting them know up front what are the what are the challenges of a property as much as well as the benefits. Does it back up to a busy road? Is it underneath the flight path of constant airplane traffic? Is there a gas line, a big gas line in the backyard? If they're buying a farm, is the water affordable or not affordable? All of these are key questions that need to be answered, and if you can provide answers up front, then that's just more benefit to your client.
Absolutely. It sounds like you know Ventura County pretty well.
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years in the business, November of this year. So coming up on 20 years. So yeah, pretty know most of the county.
Nice. And then another question I had for you regarding red flags is, or what would you advise a person to ask a potential realtor to weed out and to kind of discover those red flags or those like raise suspicions?
Sure. I think some questions that don't come up in interviews often are asking for references, right?
Okay.
Give us the name of some past clients that we can contact before we decide to list with you, right? That's a big one. And describe some of your more challenging negotiations, right? Or tell us some of the creative solutions that you've had to challenges. I mean, sometimes in real estate transactions, you need the easy button, right? At Staples, you can go buy the easy button,
Yeah.
but that's very, very rare. Okay, more often than not, there's some challenge, and sometimes they almost seem insurmountable. But the goal, of course, is if somebody really wants to buy something or really wants to sell something, your job is to see that transaction through.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always something. And so if you can describe to this potential client some challenges that you've seen through,
Mm-hmm.
that'll show them how you handle tricky situations.
Right. Yeah. Real estate is never easy. It's never just point A to point B. So thank you so much today. This has been a great eye opener on into what red flags are for spotting a potential realtor disaster. So if people want to get in touch with you, how can they find you?
Well, there's a few ways. You can email us, Paul at homeandranchteam.com. That's all spelled out, Paul at homeandranchteam.com. And then, of course, you can call or text our number, 805-479-5004.
Fantastic. So thank you so much today. This has been a great eye opener on into what red flags are for spotting a potential realtor disaster. And I would just like to encourage everyone to hop on and leave us a question, leave us a comment. What are you wondering about? Like, we know what we hear from clients, we know what we hear from commenters and viewers. But go ahead, reach out with your questions about residential, ranch, commercial. um, am I forgetting anything, Paul?
No, those are the big three. So any questions you might have, we will certainly consider those for future episodes of this new series, 15 Minutes with a Realtor.
Fantastic. This is a great first episode, I think.
I think so too.
Alright.
And of course, they can always reach out to us via email, Paul at homeandranchteam.com, phone 805-479-5004, and of course, visit our website, homeandranchteam.com.
Great. Thank you so much. See you next time.